Hello, my name is Sierra Walton. I'm the Student Communications Outreach Intern at the QEP. And today we have a special guest. Her name is Nakia Stephens, and she is a screenwriter and filmmaker. She's also a graduate of Savannah State University's Mass Communications program, and she also studied screenwriting in Los Angeles, California. While in Los Angeles, Nakia launched her own poetry blog called You Damn Right and her screenwriting company, Damn Right Originals. While juggling these two platforms, she set out to complete her first feature film called Muse. And after its success, she wrote and released a hit web series on YouTube entitled Life Under Construction. And her most recent film, Sugar Water, packed a sold-out theater and was just nominated for an award by the BET-sponsored short film category of the Bronze Lens Film Festival. Nakia is devoted to telling authentic and purposeful stories that the world needs to hear. And she also has a website entitled her website is www.damnrightoriginals.com. So without further ado, I would like to warmly welcome Miss Nakia Stephens. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I definitely love your hair.
Thank you. I love your hair.
Thank you. So to start, how did you become interested in screenwriting?
Well, I've always enjoyed writing, creative writing, and I love movies. But when I was younger, I didn't see a lot of people who looked like me doing that, so I didn't know it was a name for it. So I just said, I want to write and then make movies or something. Like, I knew that I wanted to do that. So yeah, I've always known that I wanted to do something in those kind of fields.
So when growing up, what TV shows would you say that kind of stuck out to you the most, like movies or TV shows that you felt related to you the most?
The first movie that I really sat down and picked apart, it's like, oh, why is that character acting like this, or I wonder why she's sad. I had to be very young. The movie Eve's Bayou, I don't know if you've ever heard of that, with Samuel L. Jackson, Johnny Smollett, Megan Good was in it. So there was a lot of notable actors and actresses in that movie. And it came out in 91, and I was born in 91, so I had to, when I saw it, I had to be maybe 11, maybe 10. But that was one of the first movies when I actually kept wanting to watch over and over again, not because it was good, but that's not why I wanted to watch it. I wanted to watch it so I can see what part of the story did it get crazy, or why did he do that, or what does this mean, or when was the foreshadowing come. I was really looking at it with a screenwriter's mind. And I've done that with a lot of movies, like Little Rascals. My mom, I think she threw it away. She said she lost it, but all of a sudden I came home and it was gone. So it's a lot of movies that I just would watch over and over and over and again, and for those reasons, not because they were particularly amazing movies, but because they had good character or good dialogue. And so yeah.
That brings back so many memories from when I was younger. Little Rascals was one of the popular movies. I think Good Burger and
Clueless. I like Matilda.
Matilda.
That was one that I always put on repeat.
Clueless was definitely up there. So I can tell that you have a colorful imagination. So can you tell us what inspires you when you're developing your scripts for your newest short films or movies?
I get inspired by a lot of different things. I travel a lot. Sometimes if I meet someone in my travels and they tell me a quick story, you know how people just make small talk, and they're like, yeah, my husband, he's in the Marines and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I'll just engage in conversation with them, and if I find something interesting in what they're saying, I'll even write a film about whatever they said, or about a part of their culture. You know what I mean? Conversations with people that I find are interesting, or I just observe a lot of things. So I will sit back and if you're talking to someone else, I'm like, oh, they got a good conversation going on. I'll steal inspiration from anywhere. Something that I'm passionate about. If something makes me angry that happens in the world, I use my voice as a screenwriter to bring different things to the I guess to the human thinking zone, I guess, so to speak. But because I like to create things that get people talking. So even if it's controversial, or even if it's something that people don't like to talk about, and it's oh, that's why do you want to talk about this? Why do you want to talk about homosexuality, or why do you want to talk about anything? I have no censor when it comes to talking about different things, because some things need to be talked about whether it makes you uncomfortable or not. So I get inspiration from anywhere.
So I have a question. Have you seen Dear White People? Mm-hmm. How did you like it?
I liked Dear White People.
Okay.
First of all, I liked it because the writer, I've followed him before. He even released Dear White People, so I was excited that he got an opportunity to actually have a film that caused a lot of, I guess, chatter in Sundance, and then it went on to distribution to theaters and stuff. So I was excited for him because he's young too. Justin Simeon, I think that's his name. But I liked the movie because it made some people uncomfortable.
Yes.
And it's like, some stuff, just because you're uncomfortable don't mean that you don't need to hear it. You know what I mean? So that's one of the reasons I really liked it, because a lot of people had a lot of things to say about it. And I'm like, that's fine. I like to get people talking, whether you're talking, saying that, oh, that was stupid, she shouldn't have said this. Or, you know, it doesn't matter. You talking about it. This is something that, you know, caused a conversation. So I liked the movie. I liked Dear White People.
And for those of you who don't know what Dear White People is, I believe it was an independent film.
And they entered it into Sundance. I think it won a couple of awards.
It's a really interesting movie. If you haven't seen it, I believe they have it on Netflix or like your nearest Redbox. So I'm also a mass communications major here at Savannah State University. So I would be interested in knowing, in what ways has writing played a key role in your matriculation as a mass communication student here at Savannah State?
I was just telling someone this. When I first came in as a mass comm student, like as a freshman, I would wear my hair like straight, so they would say, oh, you have news anchor hair, da da da. So I'm like, okay. So they immediately put me in things that put me in front of the camera, which was fine for me. I was just like, okay, I guess this is what I should go into. But as I would read the things, I would be more focused on the writing, and I'd be like, this writing sucks, or like, I could have wrote this better, or I don't want to say it like this. Like, that's when I realized that, first of all, I like to say things how I want to say it, so I want more creative freedom. And second of all, I want to write. I don't care to be in front of the camera. So doing that really helped me early on know, okay, I don't want to be in front of the camera. I want to be the one writing the words. And also, my creative writing class with Dr. Chad Ferries, that really made me realize, like, okay, I want to write. I want to, like, this is exactly what I want to do. I mean, because sometimes when you come in college, and like I said, I didn't have a name for what I wanted to do, and they didn't have a name for it here either. So I didn't know exactly which way to go. I just knew I wanted to be in mass communication because that's all the stuff I like. So I was there for radio, television, film. But I really wanted to write, but they didn't really have, you know, so I was just like, okay, I'm going to figure it out on my way. So being in that creative writing class, I'm like, okay, I have to get into writing. But mass comm, at the time, I don't know if they offer it now, but at the time, mass comm only offered script writing for news, or it didn't offer screenwriting for television or screenwriting for film. And I was just like, okay, well, I don't want to write news. And then I finally, when I got into my minor was English, I found a screenwriting class under English. And I'm like, why is this under English? This is for films and television and those types of mediums. So luckily I was an English minor and I found those classes. So I took 2 screenwriting classes. And then when I did foreign exchange in Ghana, I took a screenwriting class there too. So, but those classes really let me know, like, this is exactly what I want to be doing. It's like I got positive feedback. Like my classmates was like, oh, that was a good story. Like when we had to present, and I'm like, you like that story? Okay, cool, you like that story. So I'm a screenwriter. Okay, I'm a screenwriter. So that really like shaped me here, like taking those creative writing classes and being forced to be in front of the camera made me realize I didn't want to be in front of the camera.
So how did your trip to Ghana or any other places that you've been affected your writing?
So I've been to a lot of different places, but I feel like Ghana was the longest that I've stayed in a place that wasn't, you know, that was outside of America. I stayed there my whole last semester of college. So 6 months I lived in Ghana, and we like actually lived there. We weren't in like a nice fancy hotel. We were in dorms. We went to class. We were living amongst the people of Ghana. And that really gave me the opportunity to clear my mind space, because I know being on campus, well, you should know, like being on campus, you have all this other stuff to do, and it's just it's kind of claustrophobic, and you're thinking about, oh, I need to take my test, or oh, I need to do this, or I'm supposed to meet with my friends for this party, or I'm supposed to study with this study group. It's just so much going on that you never get a chance to sit down and kind of like clear your thoughts. And so since I was in Ghana and I was away from all of that, I mean, we still had stuff, but I was kind of away from all of it, and I had more time to focus on what exactly I wanted to do. And that's when I wrote my first feature film in Ghana. I wrote Muse. I think I talked about it, but I wrote that entire script while I was in Ghana, and it was like uninterrupted. I could just really focus on that, and then that's when I realized like this is exactly what I want to do. So sometimes like college was a great experience, but if you're not focused, or if you are unsure which direction to go, it kind of clouds like what you're supposed to be doing, or it gets in the way of what you could have been doing. Because I could have done a lot more. I did a lot of stuff while I was here, but I could have done a lot more with screenwriting while I was here too. So yeah.
So with that being said, what would you say would be Nakia's ideal place to be when writing or creating new ideas?
I can write anywhere. Like I can, and I know that's why I was like, I can write anywhere because I'm so internal when I write. It can be a noisy room and I can drown everything out and write. And write. And you'll call my name several times and I won't hear you. That's because I literally, I tell people that is a superpower. I will totally be so into the world that I've created that I don't hear what's going on. Like my mom says that all the time. She's like, it could be a fire in here. You just write. And I'm just like, well, I like kind of tap out of the real world and go into whatever world I've created. So I've written on a plane. I've written in Africa when we didn't have any lights. Oh, wow. Like we were using candles. Like I've written anywhere. Coffee shops, in a quiet room, in a loud room. Literally, I can write anywhere. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So with all this writing and coming up with new ideas and creating stories, how is it when you have to transfer it to the big screen?
Well, when you start off as an independent filmmaker, you kind of have to wear a lot of hats. So I'm usually like the producer of most of my things right at this point because I'm transitioning into, from independent to maybe distributed or like getting distribution. But I've just been determined. I'm not the type of person to like go door to door and try to get people to read my scripts. I like do my own thing and build my house and make it so nice that people want to knock on my door and say, hey, what you doing in here? You know what I mean? That's how I am. So I try to like write a lot and let people know what I'm doing. Like I'll like on Instagram, I'll post like snippets of like a little bit of my scripts, like maybe the beginning or the very middle where it gets kind of real. And so people are like, oh, what's that about? So I'm like, oh, it's just a new script I'm writing, And then all of a sudden I'll have messages from like these directors, these independent directors who can really shoot really good footage. And they're like, oh, I like your writing. Like, I want to team up with you. And then we end up teaming up on something and making magic, So that's usually what I do. I don't like to wait until I guess like Hollywood comes to me, because nowadays for Netflix content and stuff like that, people are looking at YouTube. You know what I mean? People are looking for people who are putting things out on YouTube.
Right.
And they're like, okay, if this person can make this good web series for just like under $1,000, what'll happen if we give them $100,000 to recreate the web series? That's what they're doing. So I'm like, why not just make my own stuff? And then if it's good, which I think it is good, and the more I do it, the better I get. So if it's amazing like it is, then people will come to me and say, hey, we like what you're doing, we want you to do this, and then there's my opportunity. So you have to create your own opportunities. I try to tell people that all the time.
Yeah, that is a good something good to live by. Now, as far as being a writer, could you please describe like your growth as a writer from when you first began to where you are now as a screenwriter, a filmmaker, and a producer?
Yeah, sure. So in the Lunch and Learn, I mentioned that my first semester of my last year here, because my second semester I was in Ghana, but my first semester of my last year here, I applied for grad school. I laugh about it all the time, but I applied for grad school at USC. And I didn't get in, and I was like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. My stuff was good, and now looking back, like my stuff was horrible.
Okay.
And so, and it might have not been horrible to people who weren't trained in screenwriting. Like a regular Joe would have been like, oh, this is really good. But it really, like, for people who were trained in screenwriting, you can tell it was unprofessional. And with that being said, I think I was just at a point where I was just writing stories, and I wasn't really diving into who is this character, or what is their breaking point, or you know, is this dialogue even needed in this scene? What can you take out and the scene still be the same? So I wasn't getting into the details of screenwriting. I was just really good at storytelling, but I wasn't advanced in details of character analysis and this and the third. So I can really see the difference from that script that I submitted to USC till now, like the scripts that I'm writing now. And I feel like if I go pick that script back up and like revamp it a little bit, I think it would have been great. And another thing I didn't do was rewrite. And a lot of people mess up on that, like write their first draft and they're like, that's it, this is amazing. And it's like, no, your first draft is never amazing. It's never amazing. So I've learned to rewrite. I think for Muse, I was kind of forced to rewrite because of like some circumstances with some shooting days. So I kind of went back and I changed the whole ending. But I'm glad that happened because it gave me an opportunity to look at the script again and then go back and do some more things. So rewriting and learning from like the USC submission really like helps me understand that it's going to take more than just a great story to have a good script, if that makes any sense. So yeah.
A question I have is, are there any moments when you have like writer's block, or you just have moments where you're like, I really want to get this done, but I don't want to rush it? You know, what do you do in those?
That just happened to me. So I wrote a dark comedy. So it was my first time writing dark comedy, so I was excited because I had this really cool idea, and I was like, I want to try another genre. So the beginning and everything was really cool, and then I posted a snippet on Instagram, and they were like, oh, I want to see the rest of this, and I'm like, yeah, I need to finish it. So I'm like typing, and I finished it, but I really think I was rushing because I was so excited because the beginning was so good, and I was just like, okay, I need to finish it, I need to hurry up. And I cast forward and everything, and then I had a moment where I'm like, the ending is not that good. It could be better. So I told my cast, I'm like, so we're going to shoot it, but next spring. By next spring, everything should be ready. So I'm giving myself time to like go back and really like give it time instead of trying to rushing it, because sometimes I just get so excited to where I prematurely try to finish something and just put it out there because the beginning and the middle is good, and I totally forget about give attention to the ending. So I've learned to like if I get writer's block, or if I feel like I get to a point where I'm just typing just to finish it and not really putting my all into it, I will step away from the project and move on to another one and then come back to it. So that's what happened with that one. Now I decided to step away from it, focus on my web series Cream and Coffee that I'm doing now. And then once I'm kind of done with Cream and Coffee, I'm probably going to go back to that one and then look at it with a fresh eye, you know. And it's funny how 2 months will make you think totally different. Like I probably will go back and be like, what the heck is all of this? And I'll probably like copy and delete all of half of the last, scenes. So I'm excited to go back and look at it with a fresh eye, a fresh pair of eyes. So yeah. So
I actually have friends who are into like video production and stuff of that nature. Now their biggest obstacle, I guess you could say, is their schedules conflict with each other's. So when it comes time to like, usually I guess you could say their consistency, they don't have consistency, so they're trying to build more consistency, but also at the same time put out like, I guess,
quality work.
Quality work. So
are they college students?
They are.
So like I said, college is amazing, but it'll kind of get in the way of, I guess, what exactly you want to do. I think that's why my junior and senior year were my best years, because I was more into what I wanted to do. So like when you're first starting out, you got to worry about math classes, and you're like, that's not my passion. I don't want to do math, or I don't want to do biology right now. I want to write, but you don't really have the time because it kind of gets in the way of doing those things. So I would say, instead of, I don't know, that's kind of hard because I don't like to tell people to wait, because I like to tell people to go ahead and do what you can. But I would say like kind of just map out sit down and really map out what you can do and what you can't. If you know that you'll have a lot of time over the summer, plan for a lot of shooting in the summer. You know, plan to just map out, okay, we want to do this talk show type thing, and map out what dates. We want to do a web series also, map out what dates. And by the time you get to the summer, you can just focus on that, and nothing will kind of get in your way because you have all of that time. So I would just say plan accordingly. I don't want to tell them to wait, but just plan for when they both have, or they all have, a lot of time. You know?
Okay.
But that's hard because I always struggle with that too. In college, I struggled with trying to find time to do stuff that I like to do or that I'm passionate about. So.
Okay. Well, thank you for answering that.
Yeah.
So, being a screenwriter means that you're behind the camera, basically calling the shots through your pen, in a sense. So, can you please share with us how the film industry is for screenwriters?
So for screenwriters, it's not as easy as people may think. People think, oh, you write a hit script and then you're gonna get $1 billion to make it. Like, no, because it's a lot of screenwriters in the world, and really it's hard because, okay, so for a director, if somebody's looking to hire a director, they can send a director's reel and you can look at everything that they've done, but you can look at it. But for screenwriters, for some reason, when you have a lot of words, people don't want to, I mean, honestly, people don't want to, like, look at all of that. So imagine someone wanting to hire a screenwriter, and one script is 100 pages, right? And you get even eight people. If you only have 8 screenwriters, which you never do, it's always more than that. But even 8 screenwriters, that's 800 pages that you have to read. Nobody's really trying to do that, honestly. Like, imagine like a professor saying, okay, read this 800 page, whatever. And you like, I ain't gonna read that. Like, you trying to skim through it, blah, blah, blah. So we don't really get the full, I don't know, is that me? The full advantage of like having someone really read every word line for line, like, because they're trying to hurry up, they're trying to find the next best thing. So it's kind of like we have to find creative ways to like market ourselves. Sorry. And also when you do get your big break, that's never really it. Like, you have to keep working. Like, you can easily get your big break, and then after that's over, it's like you have to go job hunting again.
Right.
So it's not like something that's permanent. Because once a film is over, then that's it. Find your next thing. You know what I mean? So you have to always be writing and always make sure you have a lot of things in stock. So like when you're doing one film, you can be trying to find out what you're going to do next. So it's not as easy as people think it is. But I'm not doing it for that reason anyway. So, and if you are doing it for that reason, stop now, because you're not going to make $1 million easy like that. But when you're passionate about something, like, the money usually follows anyway. Okay. And I want to go into TV, so it'll be more consistent, because TV, you have series. I mean, you have you have seasons. That's what I meant. You have first season, second season, so you can get signed for all of those seasons and be set for kind of like 2 years maybe. Versus a movie, it's like when that movie's over, then find your next thing. So that's how it is in the film industry. And filmmakers get agents just like actors get. But I'm learning as I go too. So I just found that out probably 4 months ago. So I'm like, okay, an agent. And then what else? So when you want to transition from independent to going Hollywood, you have to know about all those different things. You have to have spec scripts and all this good stuff. So, but like I always say, if you don't know something and you know you don't know it, it's your own fault. Because there's information everywhere. Right. Literally anything you want to know, you can find out on the internet. You can find in a book. You can ask somebody. So just I would tell people, like, if you want to start off as independent, that's cool. But if you also want to know the business behind screenwriting or go into Hollywood, you can research it and try to find out what everything that you need to have prepared for that. So.
Okay. So I actually went on your website the other day and I watched the trailer for Sugar Water. So after I watched the trailer, it kind of made me think about my own grandmother. She passed away probably about 2 years ago now. And it just brought back all those good memories and stuff growing up. So with that being said, what do you want to leave your audience with after they read your work or watch your films? I never pick something for my audience. I just make sure to be as passionate about everything that I do, so that
whatever that person needs, they can take it. So I don't say, oh, when my movie is over, I want people to cry and be sad. Like, because no, you know, sometimes you might want to be inspired, or like maybe you need a good cry so you can cry, or you want to just remember your grandmother so you should smile, or you want to be inspired to write something so you be inspired. So I just want them to feel something. I don't care. Even if you're mad and you're like, I don't like that ending. Why didn't you like the ending? Like, I want you to feel something. I just never want someone to leave and just say, I don't know how to feel. Then that's when I'll be like, no.
Right. So
I want people to take what they need. Like, that's how, like, take what you need from it.
So as long as some type of feeling or emotion is evoked from that film, then your job is done. Okay.
My job is done.
So is there any last words of advice that you would like to give any SSU students, especially those majoring in journalism or mass communications?
Yeah, just, I want to say, do what you can with what you have. Like, a lot of people say, oh, I have to wait till I get all this money to make my film, or I have to wait till I have the right equipment. Like, it's literally people out here making movies on their iPhones with $100. So you do what you, because the more you do it, the better you get at it. And so if you wait until you think, so you're ready to do something, then by that time it's too late, and you're not as good as you think you are. So what if I would have waited to write my first script until I got this like fancy software? Then my first script would have sucked, because if I wouldn't have wrote a sucky script before, then, you know, it would have came out during that time. So do what you can with what you have, and always create with just create with a mindset to like serve, you know, greater than yourself, you know what I mean? So create with the intention of helping other people, you know what I mean, or having people feel something, right? So I mean, that's my main thing.
Okay.
That's my main thing.
Well, I definitely thank you for sitting down with us. On behalf of the QEP and the rest of Savannah State, we just want to thank you for taking the time to do this interview. So, thank you.
No problem.